morning, good afternoon, or good evening to our judges. My name is Megan De Los Santos, and today I'm joined with Ryan Tate, Jessica Vinson, Kyle Fenton, and Youngshin Cho. And we are the University of Colorado Boulder's Plastic Waste Reduction Task Force, also known as Beyond Plastic. Today, we are briefing you on our 10-year roadmap for plastic waste reduction in the state of SWANA. And before we begin, we would like to give a special thank you to our faculty advisor, Professor Bilhari, for her constant mentorship and guidance of our team throughout the semester. We'd also like to thank Professor Preston Mansfield for his technological expertise and advice on our solutions as we developed them this past semester. So today, what we're going to be going over is an introduction, a data analysis, alternative assessments of our proposed solutions, our strategic delegations of funds, and lastly, our final solution and recommendations. So a brief introduction. The state of SWANA has roughly 3.7 million residents, 85% of which live in 3 metropolitan areas and the rest of them living in rural areas. The state of SWANA has a plastic waste concern because approximately 19.2% of the total waste stream is actually comprised of plastic, which is why the governor of SWANA has requested that Beyond Plastic provide a thorough 10-year roadmap with an $8 million budget to solve this problem in SWANA and to make the state overall more environmentally sustainable. So some of the key data that was provided by the state of SWANA is, as I mentioned on that past slide, the state of SWANA produces roughly 650,000 tons of plastic waste, which again is comprising of 19.2% of plastic. And out of that 19.2%, it was noted that the 2 highest contributors were coming from plastic film and plastic bags, as well as plastic bottles. As you can see, plastic film making 8% of that and 3% coming from PET bottles. So after reviewing the data that we had received, as well as the portfolio of stakeholder concerns, Beyond Plastic's primary areas of focus to design our solutions revolved around reducing plastic film and bag waste, reducing PET bottle waste, and finally increasing recycling participation rates. Recycling participation rates across the state varied. However, the ultimate goal is to increase the recycling participation in order to reduce plastic film and PET bottle waste as a whole. So, before we devised our solutions, Beyond Plastic made some assumptions. So in regards to plastic film and bag waste, Beyond Plastic assumed that SWANA is a swing state, meaning that no obvious political leanings would affect the solutions that we hoped to implement. We also assumed that successful taxes have been implemented in neighboring states, meaning that we would be able to implement solutions that would not be seen as too extreme by other neighboring states. In regards to PET bottle waste, Beyond Plastic assumed that there were no current regulations for the recycling of PET bottles. We also assumed that Sugar Fizz, the primary beverage production company, has a bottle production company facility located in SWANA as well. And lastly, we assumed that consumer use of PET bottles is reflective of the current trends seen in the United States. Finally, in regards to recycling participation rates, Beyond Plastic assumed that PET and HDPE are the most recycled in SWANA because this is reflective of the current recycling economy in the United States. And finally, the biggest barrier to the recycling participation rates is cost. So, Beyond Plastic devised a series of solutions centered in 3 main categories: laws and mandates, community-based programs, and technology, because as plastic waste is such a difficult problem to tackle, it will require multiple angles of attack. Which leads us to our alternative assessments.
Thank you, Megan. Hello, my name is Yongshin Cho, and now I will talk about our team solutions related to laws and mandates. Our team has identified 3 key laws and mandates serving as SWANA's plastic waste challenges: a plastic bag tax, extended producer responsibility, and a plastic bottle deposit return system. We propose a 5-cent tax on plastic bags used at grocery stores, supermarkets, and other retailers. Participating stores would retain 40% of the collected tax revenue. Using Boulder, Colorado as a model, we can estimate the potential impact in SWANA. Boulder, with a population of 104,175 people, generated approximately $250,000 in plastic bag tax revenue in 2021 with a 10-cent tax. Based on this data and assuming a 5-cent tax in SWANA, we project to generate $927,000, $530,000, and $795,000 in annual tax revenue from the 3 major cities of Maura Beach, Downton, and Bumpa, respectively. Over 10 years, this translates to a potential $17,628,000 in tax revenue. Implementing a plastic bag tax aims to reduce plastic bag consumption by encouraging reusable bags. This will lead to less plastic waste being produced and ultimately divert plastic bags from landfills. Under EPR, manufacturers would prepay processing fees per plastic containers depending on the type of plastic used. Based on average volume and weight, we project to generate $600 million in processing fees upfront, significantly reducing the overall processing payments from $1 billion to $400 million. EPR incentivizes producers to use more recyclable materials in their packaging to minimize processing fees, which can lower the reliance on raw materials. This will ultimately lead to increased recycling rates and less plastic waste ending up in landfills. SWANA's current recycling stream suffers from a high contamination rate, exceeding acceptable levels of effective recycling. To address this, we propose a pilot program for a plastic bottle deposit return system in one of SWANA's cities to lower the contamination rate of plastic bottles in the recycling stream. Consumers would pay a small deposit of 5 cents for bottles under 24 ounces and 10 cents for larger ones on plastic beverage bottles at purchase. This deposit would be refunded when the consumers return their clean, empty bottle to designated recycling centers. The pilot program will allow us to assess the system's effectiveness and address any logistical challenges before potentially expanding it statewide. This program aims to incentivize proper recycling by returning the deposit that consumers pay for returning plastic bottles. A cleaner recycling stream will lead to a higher quality recycled PET plastic, which is also cheaper than virgin PET. Ultimately, this system will reduce plastic bottle contamination and divert waste from landfills. The implementation of these 3 regulations presents a comprehensive approach to tackling plastic waste in SWANA. By targeting all types of plastic waste, we can achieve a significant reduction in the overall amount generated. This will not only improve our recycling efficiency, but also pave the way for a more sustainable future for the state of SWANA.
Our next method of addressing the plastic waste problem in SWANA was using community-based programs. We use education in addition to a community-based event called Wash 15, which encompasses a bunch of ads, videos, and building wash stations. First, I'll be talking about the education part. So we're going to be having presentations and a bunch of lectures at local schools where students will learn how to reduce their plastic waste. Also reuse plastic bottles. We also going to be having virtual field trips instead of real ones because of the fact that it's much cheaper, and so then we can have more virtual field trips. Also, we're going to be having washed plastic bottles that can be dropped off at our local schools. That way, the parents and when they're dropping off their kids can help reduce their plastic waste and recycle them. For Wash 15, which is our community-based event, we're going to be building wash stations in our rural areas. That way, we can help address the plastic waste problem in rural areas where there's not as many places to drop off their plastic and then much further away. We'll also be creating educational videos to teach people about all the different ways they can recycle and reuse their plastic waste. Additionally, we're going to be airing a bunch of local ads as opposed to national ads, just because of the fact that they are much cheaper to produce and or air actually. We're also gonna be having good time slots and not bad ones, just to help maximize our input, and they're not that much more expensive. Additionally, we're gonna be creating a website for Watch 15, and this will help us just have like a place where everyone can view and see all of our different events that we're gonna be coming up with.
Next, we'll be talking about the technologies that we will be implementing in the state of SWANA. So we are planning to install one robotic sorting robot in each of our community's material recovery facilities. The installation process is estimated to take about 1 to 2 years, which ensures a smooth transition without disrupting ongoing operations. This technology ensures that recyclable plastics are separated from non-recyclable materials. Studies have shown that they can increase our material recovery rates by a remarkable 40%. Additionally, they significantly reduce labor and disposal costs by anywhere from 40 to 60%. Each of these robotic sorting units comes with a price tag of $300,000. While it may seem like a substantial investment upfront, the long-term benefits far outweigh the costs. Next, we'll be implementing variable route optimization technology grants. Optimized routes using AI software ensure that recycling waste collection trucks follow the most fuel-efficient and time-efficient paths to collect waste. Also, this grant money would be exclusively allocated to companies servicing the municipality of Downton and impoverished neighborhoods in each of the other municipalities to encourage recycling participation. Operational fleet costs are reduced as a result of VRO implementation, so companies are more likely to transfer these savings to the customer and overall reduce curbside pickup costs. Implementation of VRO will be fairly quick, with several months to implement. Additionally, VROs can result in a 20% reduction in carbon dioxide emissions from gasoline and diesel transportation. Lastly, Beyond Plastic has chosen to accept a local mechanical recycling company's $4 million offer to build a mechanical recycling facility in SWANA. Although the building and operational costs of the facility are steep, its overall economic investment return and realistic build time of 12 to 24 months make it a realistic solution and worthwhile investment. Beyond Plastic requests that the facility be located around 3 to 6 miles from Sugarfish to incentivize the company to use recycled post-consumer plastics for cheaper costs due to reduced product transportation distances. An environmental benefit of this is it saves 1.5 to 2.3 tons of CO2 per ton of plastic recycled. This method is effective for all thermoplastics, including PET, HDPE, and PS, which are top priority plastic waste types for the state of SWANA.
And now we're gonna go over the alternative assessment matrix criteria, really how we weighed these different alternatives and solutions and trying to figure out which one would be implemented best with the budget that we're given. So we decided to assess our alternatives with a plethora of criteria brainstormed. Each criteria related to at least one of the 3 pillars of sustainability: economical, environmental, or social, and based on how important they were in the project. Some criteria are weighted higher than others. And for example, installation operational costs, if you have a limited budget, was weighed a lot higher than the investment return on some of our alternatives. Moving on to the strategic delegation of funds. And this is our total breakdown of all of the funds over the 10-year plan that we are planning on implementing. As you can see, most of our funds are allocated in year 1 going towards technology. The bulk of this is going to our mechanical recycling facility and other implementations. For the laws and implementations, the majority of the money is going to be allocated at year 5 when the EPR is starting to become fully into effect. And finally, for the community services, the allocation of funds is broken down across the 10-year period. For the individual sector breakdown, with our budget of $8 million, we decided to allocate funds that we had, 6 million of them towards technology. We felt that these solutions were guaranteed to be effective because they wouldn't have to depend on the behavior of the citizens of SWANA or their political favorability or whatnot. And then for our second highest category, we chose mandates and laws, which will go towards the bag tax and EPR. And finally, 743,000 of our budget will go towards community, which will go towards education and ads and wash stations for wash 15. And here's our final recommendation that we recommend for the state of SWANA.
And for laws and mandates, Beyond Plastic strongly recommends from year one to implement the bag tax in Mahona Beach, which will cost $50,000. In year two, implementing a bag tax in Bonpa, which will also cost $50,000. And year three, implementing a bag tax in Downton, which will cost also $50,000. At year five, you're going to implement an EPR statewide, so to lower the processing payments of the state.
Now we're going to be talking about the community-based programs cost breakdown. So as you can see, we have $20,000 for each of our community-based events in our major metropolitan areas. This comes from the fact that there are, assuming 8 counties, each at a cost of $25,000, which comes out at $200,000. And there's eight counties in each major metropolitan area. And so going into our timeline at year one, we're gonna be having ads on our local TV stations. We're gonna be having Wash 15 academic videos on YouTube, and also we're gonna be making Wash stations. The Wash stations are roughly $70,000, and all of our ads and YouTube videos and website will be coming up at another around $70,000. Now in year two, we've been kicking off our Wash 15 campaign in Medora Beach, which I've said previously is $200,000. Year five, we're starting the one in Bumpa, and in year eight, we're starting the one in Dalton.
Next, on the technology side, on day one, the plastic recycling facility will propose its design with a developed business plan outlining the facility's objectives and operational strategies. In year one, Beyond Plastic will accept the offer of the PRF to start with the cost of $4 million. Also, 3 plastic sorting robots will be implemented at a total of $900,000 in each MRF. In year two, the annual costs for both the VRO grant, which is $100,000, and sorting robot operation and maintenance, which is around $15,000, will be budgeted for this year and every year to come. The grant will be given based on the amount of plastic waste collected per company. In year three, Beyond Plastic will plan to have the PRF fully operational by the 3rd year of our 10-year plan.
Finally, going back to the waste reduction stats that we reviewed at the beginning, we do have some goals that we think are attainable after this 10-year span. First, with the plastic bag tax, we hope to reduce the plastic film plastic bags category from 7.9% to 5.5%. Hope to reduce PET bottles in the waste stream from 3% to 2%. And finally, with the EPR, we hope that producers switch to an alternative type of plastic or more sustainable, and all other plastics will go down from 8.3 to 7.5%, bringing our total reduction total plastic waste reduction percentage from 19.2 down to 15.0%, which is a 4.2% of the waste stream is no longer plastic. We hope that this can be implemented in 10 years. We're confident about it. We think this target achieves a notable reduction, but we also believe it is attainable and feasible at the same time. As far as our references, here they are, and we're looking forward to hear your questions for us next week. Thank you, guys.